Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Milfoil Monday. My name is Joe Markman. The company is the Lake Defense Force, and this is the video segment where we go over a native or non-native plant. We talk about its origin, how it got here, its characteristics, why it's a problem, and you know, of course, my favorite segment, can it be bottom barriered? The American waterweed is actually native to the Pacific Northwest, but it's been propagated and spread throughout the entire world and has been that way for quite a long time. It was actually first recorded in Britain in 1836. Now it's a big problem over there as well, and you know, it's actually can be quite a nuisance to where it's non-native. So let's go over its characteristics to see how it gets in the way. The American waterweed's a perennial. We've gone over this, but a perennial means that the same plant can actually keep growing for multiple years without it having to reseed and repropagate. This plant can either root or it can actually grow free form in a body of water. Now, this is what makes it so annoying or a nuisance in some areas. It can grow up to 10 feet tall, and it is used in private ponds and aquariums to help oxygenate the water. It produces a lot of oxygen, which is a good thing in most situations until it grows too much. You won't really find it being a problem in the Pacific Northwest though, because we do have natural animals, fish, and other things that do like to eat it and keep it under control. So where does it grow? Well, the American waterweed likes to grow around the edges and banks of lakes. It is a completely submerged plant, so you will find it only under the water. While it does like shallow lake streams and rivers, it actually has been spotted up to 50 feet deep in the middle of lakes, which is really interesting. We actually have a interesting experience with the American waterweed. We were contracted with a lake to basically help contain the algae that was forming there. And one of the reasons the algae was forming was because there was a huge biomass at the bottom of this lake. Now, what the biomass was actually American waterweed. So, not to brag or anything, but in 6 days, we actually removed over 10 tons of this plant to help with the situation. That lake actually has had almost no algae outbreaks since then. It's a different story, a different time, but kind of interesting in the real world applicability of the American waterweed and what it can do in a lake body. So, why is the American waterweed a problem? Well, in the Pacific Northwest, it's really not too much of an issue, unless, of course, there's too much at the bottom of the lake, contributing to excess biomass. But because the reason it's really not a problem in the Pacific Northwest is because it's actually home to a lot of small aquatic animals that like to be eaten, like by fish, frogs, and birds. Geese, ducks, and swans are also really like to eat this plant, so we have enough of other natural life around it that it really contains the growth in most situations. But why is it a problem in places that it is a problem? Well, because the plant grows and spreads quickly. It overtakes waterways and blocks shallow canals, and it can also make swimming and recreational activity very difficult if there's not a natural limiting factor to the plant in that environment. Alright guys, so here is my favorite segment of the video, as you very well know, is can it be bottom barriered? And the answer is no. No, it cannot be bottom barriered at all. Because it spreads through fragmentation, it can quickly create a new population on top of our bottom barrier. That being said, too, you also do not really want to get rid of this plant in the Pacific Northwest. If you're somewhere else, you may want to. Pacific Northwest, you really don't want to. It actually takes up ground spacing and can actually take up growing space from where milfoil may grow. So it's actually a good thing. All right, guys. Well, my name is Joe Markman. The company is the Lake Defense Force. The plant is the American waterweed, and you've joined us for another episode of Milfoil Monday. Any questions, comments, or concerns, or if you want to know anything more about our freshwater environment, please feel free to reach out to us. And we hope you have a great milfoil-free day.